reality is that as the billionaire class thrives, workers in Canada are paying the price.
Justin Trudeau's Liberal government recently gifted $12 million to the massively profitable Loblaws to retrofit their fridges to make them energy efficient. Now, there is a new wrinkle in this story that NDP MP Niki Ashton touches on in her statement here.
Mr. Speaker, May Day is a day to celebrate working people, and yet today we hear one more example of how this government is prioritizing their billionaire friends instead. Not only did this government give money to Loblaws to buy fridges, it gave them privileged access in exchange for generous donations from lobbyists. The reality is that as the billionaire class thrives, workers in Canada are paying the price. A recent OECD report showed that the middle class in our country is shrinking. So instead of doing favors for their billionaire friends, where is this Liberal government's defense of working people?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our government has been unequivocal in our support for Labour, and we're happy to celebrate that this May Day. There is no question that since forming government, we passed C4 to eliminate the unfair 525 and 377 that Harper passed. We amended the Canada Labour Code to give federally regulated employees the right to flexible work arrangements and implement different leaves. We strengthened occupational health and safety standards. We passed C65 to protect federally regulated employees from workplace harassment and violence. Mr. Speaker, we will continually stand up for Labour, stand up for workers across.
All right, before I dive into this, everything Trudeau said there is just the bare minimum. The bare minimum in terms of supporting workers. But I guess oftentimes the bare minimum can seem like a lot when the majority of what you do is stand up for massive corporations and the wealthy. Now, Niki Ashton here did a fantastic job at calling out Trudeau and touched on this issue of in relation to the Loblaws story. So this is what she was talking about. Two Loblaws lobbyists, one of which helped steer the company towards a controversial $12 million federal grant to reduce the energy consumption of the refrigerators, also donated frequently to the Liberal Party and attended a partisan fundraising event with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So this is the cash for access that we hear so much about. When you have these massive companies donating to the Liberal Party and having private meetings with the Liberal Party, do you think that has an effect on their policy? Of course it does. This is the issue, not just with the Liberal Party, but also the Conservatives. Historically, this is what they've done. They've protected corporations while masking it in private or in small business. Oh, we're just looking after the small businesses. Meanwhile, they're chilling with companies like SNC-Lavalin and Loblaws, massively profitable companies, where in the case of Loblaws, they could absolutely afford to pay for their own fridges, and they don't need a $12 million grant from the federal government. Now, there are a couple hilarious arguments here that I want to dismantle from the Liberal Party in their defense of this. So Environment Minister Catherine McKenna's office said the meeting with the lobbyist was on another topic, plastic waste, and that the grant was awarded following a fair and competitive process. Loblaw companies also deny that the grant for the fridges was awarded because of lobbying or preferential treatment, and the lobbyists in question say they never lobbied the government over the program on behalf of the company. Now, let's just say I believe you. When it comes to other issues, Loblaws doesn't have to talk about this $12 million specifically to be able to be granted that or to have favor in being granted this kind of money, because the Liberal Party already has a previous relationship with Loblaws. That's what gets you in the door. So it's not necessarily about, oh, but we didn't talk about this very specific policy. You didn't have to, because you already have a relationship with the governing party. That's the problem here. The party is looking after these massive corporations more than the average person. Again, Loblaws did not need $12 million. They are already a massively profitable company. Now, let me look at this other argument here that the Liberals are putting out. So look at how they artfully flipped the script. Parliamentary Secretary Adam Vaughan, however, said Loblaws only received the grant as a flow-through and that a factory in the Toronto region was a benefactor. He flipped the tables on the NDP, suggesting that the cancellation of the $12 million grant would actually hurt small business. Now, this is what I call grade A politicking. Adam Vaughan here is acting like, oh, the NDP, if you're against this $12 million for Loblaws, so you're actually hurting small business. But what Adam Vaughan doesn't tell you is that Loblaws themselves could have given that $12 million to this small business instead of the federal government having to do it. Either way, this money is being used on a massively profitable company. So this is I mean, the way that Adam Vaughan is able to do this without just like no shame. They have no shame. They stand up for corporations and they pretend that they're standing up for small business. As I said earlier, this is what they do all the time. This is what the Liberals do. This is what the Democratic Party in the US does. Oh, we're just standing up for small business, when in reality, they're protecting their large corporate interests. And again, it's not just the Liberals, it's not just the Democrats, it's the Conservative Party and the Republican Party as well. These so-called left and right parties, well, in terms of the right wing, they are actually right wing, but both these parties are standing up for massive corporations. That's what they do. And as I said, Loblaws makes a ton of money. So Loblaws actually made $221 million in profit last quarter. Yet, for some reason, they need $12 million from the federal government. Yeah, I don't think this makes all that much sense.